Welcome back. I can see some of you all wiping your faces. That's nice. Refreshing. Okay. In this meditation session, which will last for an hour or thereabouts, I'm going to be talking to you about the five Kosyas. Okay. So, basically, what you're going to do is you're going to be able to understand what we are made up of. And the rishis and the yogis has had a wonderful idea of what we were composed of. And what they did was they said, we are basically made up of three bodies. There is the Baharanga, Madhyanga, and the Antaranga. The external body, the middle body, and the inner body. And another way of looking at it is that we have five kosyas, five sheets or five layers. Okay, and the external layer is actually made up of what they called Annamaya Kosya. Now, what is Annamaya Kosya? Anna is food grains. Yes. Anna is food grains. So Annamaya Kosya is basically nutrition. When you look at it, let me put on another light here. So that, that's a little more lighting. So, nutrition. So the external body is made up of nutrition. So if you really look at this body, it starts with a sperm and an ova or an ovum, an egg. There is food or there is nutrition in the head of the sperm and there is a lot of nutrition in the egg. So when the fertilization takes place, you get what is called a zygote. Okay, that's the beginning of the physical being coming to life. Whether or not we enter the body at that time, we don't know. Somewhere along the path, from that point of conception until the point of delivery, when the baby comes out, the spirit enters the body. Okay, so in this stage of evolution, we are not really sure when the spirit enters the body. But this is the external body. It starts with food. Now this zygote implants itself. It's like a parasite. It will implant itself on the inside of the womb. But if it can also implant on the outside of the womb, which is called ectopic pregnancy, where the baby gets the food from the mother like a parasite, drawing nutrition from that person. And so sometimes the baby has ectopic, it's gone outside the place where it's supposed to be resting to be born. Okay, but it develops, and after 9 months it comes out, and then it starts feeding on life on the planet, whether it's grass or it's herbivores, there are carnivores, there's different types of food eating animals, and we are omnivores, we'll eat anything, humans. But everything comes from the sun. Understand this. The sun is the main source of energy. That is why a lot of religions in the earlier days are sun worshipping religions. Even the Catholic Church today, though it calls itself a Christ following church, it's actually all about the sun. There are so many things that point out to sun worship which have been included in this church today, in the Catholic Church. I don't want to get into religion, but this is that external kosya, the first external element or external layer is called Annamaya Kosya, the body of nutrition. Now, when we go inside, we have three bodies, three elements, not three bodies. So the middle body, I'll confuse with, it's about syntax. So the middle body has got three constituents. That's the best word to use, okay? So the external body has one constituent, which is nutrition. The middle body has got three constituents and they go in order. So from the physical body of nutrition, you go to breath. From the breath, you go to the mind. From the mind, you go to the intelligence. And these are the three constituents of the middle body. In Sanskrit, they call them pranamaya kosya, the body of the constituent of breath, manomaya kosya, the constituent of the mind, and vijnanamaya kosya, the constituent or the element of intelligence. There's a very big difference between intelligence and mind. Okay, the mind is not the brain, the mind is in the whole body. Okay, and also when you look at the mind, it can come under conscious control. A good example is the muscles in the body. You have striated muscles and you have smooth muscles. Striated muscles in the body are under conscious control. You can move them consciously. The smooth muscles are almost impossible to control. But the heart is able to be controlled because it has got both smooth and striated muscles, and that's why people can regulate heartbeats through meditation. That's why the meditations I teach for healing are extremely good for people with cardiac problems. Because I do certain pranayamas, which are connected with the pranamaya kosya, the breath body, and through the breath I go into the mind, and through the mind I go into the intelligence, and somewhere between those two lies the ability to bring the heartbeat into a regulatory process and slow it down. Okay, so here we have, and all this is connected with meditation, because meditation is the process of introspection, of going within. So the moment you are going within, what you are doing is you are not going out, you're going within. I forget the right word, evolution or involuting. You're involuting. And when you're involuting, you pass through these layers. That is why in all meditations, they involve the breath, because the first thing that comes to you is the breath. Then from the breath, you go into things like vipassana. And vipassana deals with sensation awareness. There are many different exercises on the path of self-discovery. They all are either single or a combination of these three: breath, mind, and intelligence. And in Shakti path, when I give energy to people, that is a direct approach, direct connection with the intelligence body, Vijnanamaya Kosha. And people who have come in touch with the Vijnanamaya Kosha are people who have spiritual powers. Spiritual power is in all religions, whether you're a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim. And then there's a tendency for religious leaders to say, oh, his power is from the devil and mine is from the God, and all BS, bad stuff. Okay? It's the person's involution, his inward journey, that determines whether or not he has the spiritual power. The religious books and the prophets were helping us, but somewhere along the line we have lost connection with reality. Now, after Vijnanamaya Sharira, you come to the innermost body, which has got one constituent, and that is called bliss, Ananda. The closest I could say in the Christian context is rapture. When people come into the Ananda body, they are in total rapture. The Christian puts his hands up and he's frozen and he's gone. He's gone to a beautiful place out there. Or maybe I should say in there. Okay? The yogis also experience that and they call it Ananda. That is why once a person has experienced a Vijnanamaya Sharira, once the person has gone through that and experienced Ananda, many enlightened masters will call you. I was called from Mumbai to the Himalayas, first in Madhya Pradesh and then Himalayas, and given the initiations and the rites on how to keep using this newfound spiritual gift of mine. And my first question to him was, I'm a Christian, I'm born a Christian, will I have to stop eating meat? and or will I have to become a Hindu? And they were so beautiful and open when they said, just practice the principles. All the rest does not matter. He did not care whether I called myself a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim. All he cared was that I became a better human being. And this is something I want to tell all religious leaders in all religions. This is important. If we are children of the same Father, why do we turn against people who don't believe in the concepts that you believe? Why? That means you are not confident. Everybody was created by the same Father. There is not a different Father who has created a person from a different religion. If we are all one, according to the monastic philosophy of one God, or according to the Hindus, if we are all one, we should not turn against other religious beliefs, knowing that they were created by my Father, by the same person, by Brahma. And it's funny because Sarah and Abraham is actually true Egyptian mythology, connected with the Hindu mythology, which is Abraham and Sarah are Brahma and Saraswati. And many people don't realize that. It's just over the years it has created its own. We know today that Muslims and Christians came from the same root, Judaism. Right? But they fight. Because the people at the bottom of the mountain of spirituality don't want to climb up to the top, where they can find God, where they can find divinity. They're too busy trying to tell each other, mine is the right path. Okay, climb. Why are you having wars down there? Why are you fighting with somebody with another ideology? That shows that you are not connected with your own. All masters, when they come into the state of divinity, begin to see every human being as one. I remember Vivekananda's statement when he was asked to join the freedom fight. He says, against whom? I don't see British, I don't see Indians, I see human beings. It did not go well with the people at that time. That's why he's not come up there. But his beautiful speech in the religious congress tells it all. Read it sometimes. I don't want to go into that. So we are made up of these 5 constituents. And of these 5 constituents, the only constituent that will go away at death, which will be destroyed and go back to the earth, is a physical body. The least to be considered, physical body. And yet our whole life, there was a famous guru who said, a person comes into this world crying and the whole world rejoices. Well, the baby is crying. The same person leaves this world rejoicing and the whole world cries. Because when we come into this body, our memory of the past and the memory of where we are going to go, where we have come from, where we are going to go, this memory is taken away from us so that we can focus on the reason why we are here, which is spiritual development, which is learning lessons. But what happens? We get so attached to our bodies that we want to build houses, the greatest projects, the greatest online programs that are selling today are the ones that are talking about success and making millions. Owning yachts, having dollars, having gold. What will you do with that gold? What is the value of that gold? Except that it can help you to manipulate materialism in this planet. Not an ounce, not even a speck of this gold will you be able to take with you. And people don't realize that. And nobody wants to talk about it because it doesn't sell. People are too caught up in these different dimensions that are given to them. Fairy tales. The fairy tale of Santa Claus, that's my previous meditation lecture. The fairy tale of religion, virgin births, rising from the dead. A lot of things. Elephants, half human, half elephant. Look at it. Every religion, even in the Greeks. I went to Parthenon in Athens, and I stood on my head, and one lady came up there, "You cannot stand on your head over here. This is religious ground. Don't you understand?" The thing had crumbled down. They had put everything, there was no religious worship taking there. But that attachment to that belief of the titans, of all these demigods, Hercules and all, that probably existed. I believe that they were the same as the Nephilim, and the book of Enoch has been taken from the Bible. And we have these huge people like Hanuman and all also in Hindu culture. So there may have been a historical context to this. But we are stuck in the material, we are stuck with the physical body. Rarely, 1 in a million maybe, will go into the breath, and then to the mind, and to the intelligence, and then it'll go like, wow, this is a whole different world. Nobody told me about it. Well, most people who come into this experience are the people who have traumatic incidents in their life, who have near-death experiences, who go halfway to the grave and come back and something changes. Some people even go to the point where they have the experience of meeting the white light on the other side, and they are told, your time has not come back. Shoo, go back, go back. अभी तक काफी टाइम है, जाओ तुम्हारा काम करके वापस आना. That was in Hindi for those who don't understand what I just said. Go, your time is not up. Go, finish your work and come back. So, the whole concept of these 5 elements, these 5 constituents, okay, in Sanskrit they call them the Kosyas. Okay, so I'm having a syntax problem here, where I cannot decide what word to use. Okay, the literal translation would be envelopes or sheets, so each one is like a sheet covering whatever. So when we do yoga, when we do meditation, you can't have just one. The first beginning in the process, in the path of spirituality, according to the 8 stages of, or the Ashta Anga, 8 limbs of yoga. The first is mental, Yama Niyama. That is a transformation at the spiritual level in mind. Okay, you be non-violent, be pure, read spiritual books. Okay, offer your prana to the, people say, what is it, Ishvara Pranidhana. They give an English translation, but that's not what it is. Ishvara, the one inside. Pranidhana. Dan is make an offering of prana, of life force, to the one that is dwelling within, the Antaryamin. Okay? What they say in English is surrender to the will of God. That's not what it means. It's a total bad translation, you can say, not even a transliteration. But it's okay. Whatever helps you to transform the first 2 stages. Then the first thing you look at is yoga. Now, yoga has been, for lack of a better term, destroyed. I mean, I don't want to use the right term for it because it's not the word I want to use on the internet. But it has been destroyed, basically. The meaning has been lost. Yoga has become an acrobatic journey for people, or how much they can stretch and how much they can stand on your head and twist around and all, which is not bad. But yoga, that physical yoga, is like the bottle or the cup of tea. Your physical body is the container. You are not the physical body. So all the hours and all the days and all the months, weeks, years that you spend in making your body all that perfect may be lost. It will be like cleaning the cup and putting it in the showcase. It doesn't serve any purpose because it is going to destroy eventually, whether you like it or not. You may be able to keep it for a little longer. Clean it and strengthen it only to the point where you want to add the hot coffee in it, or the hot tea, or the lemonade, or whatever. Because that is the inner middle body. And the sweetness that lies in that coffee, or the essence of that coffee, or the tea, or the lemon juice, or whatever, that is the innermost body. If you take a cup of tea and the water evaporates, all that will be left is the soul of that drink that you're drinking. So, Pranamaya Kosya, Manomaya Kosya, and Vijnanamaya Kosya. The body of breath, the body of mind, and the body of intelligence. These three bodies have to be nurtured in yoga. And there is no God. They don't mention any form of divinity. It's just divinity. Which is very beautiful, because in the Yoga Sutras, there's no God mentioned at all. Everything is very scientific and very technical. But look at it this way: when you die, when you experience that innermost part of you, you are considered to be an enlightened being. Okay? So, a person who has experienced that soul body is a person who has gone through the Vijnanamaya Sharira, who has gone through the body of intelligence. So without entering that body of intelligence, you cannot enter the soul body, the Ananda. What lies within that Ananda is your soul. Okay? So Atma, they call it in Sanskrit, the Atma. Now, how you know if that person has been there? If that person can display spiritual gifts. And even among the Christians, they say you have to have a gift. The gift of tongues. Just go blah, 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 and that's a gift of tongues. Okay, now you are enlightened. See, it's all the same in all religions. But people are trying to destroy it and say yours is not right, mine is not wrong, yours is wrong. That's not true. All religions come to the same conclusion. Okay? Even in the book of Revelations in the Bible, they talk about spiritual gifts. What do the Hindus talk about? Siddhi. What do the Muslims call it? Takat. Even Muslims, Sufis, we wish to have it more, who are literally finished by the Sunnis and the Shias. The Sunnis and the Shias is another sect of Islam. Even they believe, and if there is a man displaying spiritual abilities because he has entered into that spiritual body within, he is called a fakir, or they have a name for their spiritual leaders. I can't get it right now. And they'll go to him in the same manner. All religions are the same. It's some people who are in charge of religious congregations that want to pollute this reality. They want to give the untruth to the people so that they can control them. If you go to another religion, you'll go to hell. Ask my mother. She'll tell you. So, that is not the truth. God has not given only one particular path, the power to arrive to Him, and told all the other different routes of people struggling to experience God, no, you're going to hell. You're not on this particular path, this special path. BS. Bad stuff. I really don't like that. It's not true. Everybody is created by the same God. Everybody is loved by the same God. And that is why I try to explain these Kosyas. Because these constituents of the body are for everybody. And it doesn't matter how tomorrow you could invent your own method of getting into the Ananda, into the bliss, the rapture. And that would still be fine. That would maybe be a new religion as long as people did not start manipulating that also for their financial benefits. So, these are the Kosyas. Now, when the person dies, he doesn't go to God. This person stays in a subconscious reality. And that's why the Christians had included something called purgatory. No, you stay in a state of suspended animation in an interdimensional space, and then you're given another body. And you keep doing that until you evolve to a point where you have cleansed yourself completely. And when you have cleansed yourself completely, then your physical body goes to the earth. Your spiritual body is left in that same dimension, and that soul, which is really what you are, merges with God the Father, merges with Brahma, merges with the Creator. And I don't want to give the Creator any shape or form, identity or name. Sometimes I don't even like to use the word God because it's been so badly used and abused, this word God, that I cringe to use the word God sometimes. The creative principle, the divine architect of the universe. What a beautiful way to say it. The divine architect, the person that constructed this whole universe in a divine way. So it's very important for us to understand that the path of meditation is the path that leads to enlightenment. Now, when a person has completely purified himself and leaves that spiritual body, the mind, the breath is gone when the body goes. Okay? The intelligence combined with the mind stays in a place where people try to pray and access this spiritual body to help them. It becomes like a powerhouse by which you can grow. That is why there are saints in all religions, whether it's a Catholic, a Christian, or whether it is a Hindu, or whether it's a Islam. There are saints in these religions because these people were able, through their powers, to display that they had reached that body of intelligence. And also, when they died, powerful things happen at the point of their death or soon after their death, and I'll explain them to you. And that is not just an enlightened person, that is a liberated being. And there are many beings on this planet that have been liberated before, not just one or two, many of them. And how do you know? When the being goes into heaven, according to the Christians, Hiranya Loka or Hiranya Garbha according to Hindus, okay, and there's another name the Muslims give it, it doesn't matter, I think it's Swargalok or whatever. So when this person goes there, he leaves his spiritual body behind. Mostly his close people are able to access that body. And where is the proof of a liberated being? When Christ died, Saint Peter raised a person from the dead. Okay, his followers started displaying tremendous powers. They were using this body, what they call the Holy Spirit today of Christ, to make these miracles and to bring people onto the fold. Somewhere along the line it got destroyed, and religion and religious practices and rituals took over, and the Holy Spirit has been forgotten. Only few people get it, and most of them not through these religious portals, but through a spiritual portal which they create out of their desire and their practice for the experience of God. When Nityananda died, Muktananda became powerful. When Ramakrishna died, Vivekananda became powerful. In fact, there's a story where he locks him up or his information in a key and says, only at my death you'll get it. And notice the moment the master dies, the follower becomes extremely powerful. And most of them use the power for material benefits. Muktananda used to wear jewels and glasses and, sit in there like a real wealthy man. And there were certain ladies in his ashram also who would start wearing diamonds and jewels. Don't ask me about more. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. The disciples mostly abuse the power of the master. Christ died, and see how many people are now creating religions in the name of Christ. Each one creating their own philosophy. But the body is accessible to anybody. It is indifferent to what you do and what you say. It is pure love. That is divine and pure love. So if you ask me, I love Christ. But like Gandhi said, I would be a Christian, but I haven't met one yet. So I hope I'm not boring you guys with this extra information. So I just get drifted sometimes into these little niches. But very important, when we meditate, we go to the breath. And from the breath, we come into the mind. And then we experience that peacefulness of the mind. But that is not the end of the journey of meditation. It's the beginning. Because you got to go even beyond the mind to the peace that passeth all understanding. And then experience the bliss. Okay? So today we will do a meditation. Okay? What we will do is very similar, but see, the fact that we are going in a particular way into this meditation makes that difference. So in today's meditation, we are going to go into the breath, directly into the breath. And then with the help of the breath, we are going to spread this breath to intertwine with the physical body. And then that breath and body intertwined together will go into the mind level. And from the mind, we will stay there. Because beyond that, only takes time. And I would be fooling you if I tried to tell you that in one meditation session, you are going to be liberated or enlightened. Yeah, right. It doesn't happen that way. But we take a step towards that today. So sit comfortably in a chair. Sit comfortably in a chair. I know we spent a lot more time in speaking and lectures and information today. But I hope it was good. Very good.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to understand the background. Yeah.
Yes, I believe it works, it helps a lot. Thank you. Thank you. So, let's go. Sit comfortably in a chair, close your eyes. Be completely still. Like the psalmist says, be still and know that I am God. Be completely still. And directly go into watching your breath. There are two ways of doing pranayama. There are many ways, but two basic explanations is one is where you do not involve with the breath, you just watch it. The second one is where you create different modules of breathing consciously. In other words, you interfere with it and you try to guide the breath consciously. Okay. So in this particular case, what we are going to do is we are going to watch the breath in the beginning and then slowly start guiding it to the whole body. Watch your breath. Watch how the breath comes in and watch how the breath goes out. How the breath comes in and how the breath goes out. Yes, the breath comes in and the breath goes out. Do nothing to the breath. You are just the observer. The breath has been doing this from the day you were born. It's not going to stop right away if you don't look at it. I give you that assurance. It will only stop when it's meant to stop. In your journey